Hello everyone, my name is Kevin and today I'm going to be taking you through the new billing functionality of HoudiniEsq 2.0. Now we realize that the billing section is the part of the application which has undergone the most drastic change since 1.9, or so it would seem from first glance. However, it's really not that different, and today we're going to be kind of taking you through how to bill a case and bill your current time. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at the pre-bill, which is the first section that's going to pop up when you select the billing menu from the top here. The pre-bill consists of several matters listed here. Traditionally, they're going to be listed by billing date first. So you can kind of change around the way that they're sorted. So if I uncheck the billing option or the date option, it's going to sort them in alphabetical order. If I click this, it will show the most recent matters first. You can also group them by client as well as by type. This icon, of course, will always indicate your matters only. So if you want to include all matters in the system which have billable time, you can uncheck this as well. The next thing that I need to bring your attention to is, of course, the right-hand side, which has your current matter balance that you have selected. So you've got your events and expenses, any taxes if those are turned on, which will give you your total charges. And then you also have any credits which are applied, credits, payments, and of course trust earned. Now up here you have your batch billing section. So this allows you to toggle between producing a single invoice and adding your invoices to a batch to be produced later. So if I want to add this particular invoice to a batch, so if you want to do multiple ones quickly, you can go ahead and click Add to Batch, then move on to your next invoice and add that to the batch. You can see this one is already part of that batch. So I'm going to click it again to take it out of the batch. So if you just want to do a single invoice, I'm going to go ahead and click this button, and that's going to bring it to our single invoice matter option. Next, we're going to go ahead and temporarily turn off the Quickbooks connection. So if you have Quickbooks connected, this button will allow you to toggle whether you want to post that to Quickbooks or not. You can also toggle the tally fields over here by clicking this icon. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what we're looking at right here. So here we have our events, our expense, and also our trust earned record. Now, if you want to remove a record at any time from this list, you simply go over to this box over here. This is the old toggle from 1.9, which will allow you to decide whether you want to include this particular item on the current invoice or not. So if I select N, it will not be included on this invoice when I produce it. If I select Y, it will be included. So if you want to remove something from this list, you simply click the D button, and that will remove the item entirely. You can also add additional items by clicking the quick add icons up here. We have one for event, expense, and trust earned. So I'm going to produce a quick add for each of these right now just to show you how that works. So I'm going to add an event, an expense, and a trust earned item. So they're going to go in there as unclassified. Right now what we need to do is we need to select type. So I'm going to select arbitration event. I'm going to go ahead and leave the date for the current date, although you can backdate this if you prefer. You can also set a specific time as well using the time icon down here. Next, we have our amount, staff, duration, and rate. So what this is doing is right now we don't have a rate, so it's using the default rate of this particular matter. So I'm going to go ahead and select court rate. And you'll notice if I change the duration here, it will go ahead and automatically recalculate to my court rate, which is $200 an hour. If you select a rate that you don't have a definition on, it will ask you to specify a rate. So you can see here, I don't have one for new rate, so I can set a rate of $300 an hour. You can also do fixed rate events here directly. And then it will go ahead and recalculate according to that rate if I go into the duration box and change this value. Next, we have the subject area, where I can add a subject to any of these particular events. Now, if you want to add a memo, you will have to leave the pre-bill, go to the matters section and find this particular matter, which we have currently selected, and open the event and add your memo. You can also add the subject here. Otherwise, the pre-bill will allow you to add a quick subject without having to leave that screen, which will be included on the invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and add a delivery services expense type for $500. And that will go ahead and automatically add to your tally over here. So we can see that we have $5,000 in trust and we have $21,000 due. So the next thing that we're going to do is a trust earned. Now, one important difference between 1.9 and 2.0 to keep in mind is that trust earned must be added on the pre-bill screen. You can no longer do it once the invoice has been generated. This is due to the way that Quickbooks works, which requires you to put in a trust earned before the invoice is produced. So we're going to go ahead and just do a quick pull from trust for the amount specified. So let me go ahead and apply that amount, and you'll notice that we have that much left in the trust. And so the next step finally is we're going to invoice our matter. So once I click invoice matter, that will disappear from the current list. Now if I want to go see that invoice, you can then go over to the invoicing screen. So you'll notice that when I clicked in here, I clicked this button. What this does is this hides zero balances paid invoices. Now this is hidden by default. So since we applied the fees earned to bring the balance to zero, it was actually hidden. So I couldn't find it until I clicked that button. So if I click this again, it will go ahead and hide that particular matter. The other thing that you'll notice is that only this particular matter is being shown. And the reason for that is because we are only looking at current batch billing at the moment. You'll notice that this button up here will allow you to toggle between showing the latest batch and showing all invoices. So batches are done by session. So that means that as long as you've been logged into the system, every invoice that you will produce, you can simply click this button just to get to those. So the invoicing screen is again part of the total billing screen, and you can kind of flip between the pre-bill and the invoicing at any time by clicking this toggle up here. You'll notice right away that we now show all invoices that have been produced recently, and again you can toggle between the ones that still have a balance due and the ones that do not. So if I want to print this invoice, I'm simply going to click the print button down here. You can also email it. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and print this out. And you'll also notice that our invoice format has changed significantly. The new invoice will display a subject and memo if they're available, along with the totals here, and it's in a much cleaner format. This invoice is actually an invoice template. We'll be doing another video to show you how to customize this particular template in the future as well. One of the things that has not changed between 2.0 and 1.9 is the ability to redo an invoice by simply deleting it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and delete this invoice. Now what that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and push everything back to the pre-bill. One of the things that we now retain if you delete an invoice is the trust earned. So that is actually retained now. That has changed. So I'm going to go ahead and again remove it. So remember, to delete an item from this list, you're going to select this column and select the D for delete. So this time we're going to go ahead and invoice this particular matter without applying a fees earned, just so I can show you how payments work. So now when I go into the invoicing screen, it instantly shows up regardless of whether I have the hide zero balance invoices turned on or not. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and apply a payment. So you'll notice that the payment screen now also brings up any other matters that this particular client has past due invoices on. So I can apply payments to those invoices as well. So you can also jump to the next set of open invoices if you have more than 3. And I don't, so you'll see the nice paid indicator there. So I'm going to go ahead and close my window. And if I go ahead and print this invoice again, it should show us some different information, such as the payment. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at is pre-bill options. So one thing that you can do in pre-bill is the cutoff date. You're going to click on the advanced filter, and you can also do this over in the invoice screen as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select my cutoff beginning date and cutoff ending date. Now this is similar to the cutoff date in 1.9. I'm The major difference is now you can select whatever range you want rather than setting just an end date. So you can actually select a specific date range. One thing to keep in mind is that if you set the cutoff date earlier than the current ending date, any new records that you add will be excluded because they're being added for the current date and time. But this is useful if you want to invoice older items. You can also filter by contact search, staff search, or type. You can also increase or decrease the number of rows you return. You also have these options over in the invoicing screen. The most notable option in the advanced filter of the invoicing screen is the ability to select your invoice template. So you can upload multiple invoice templates as type invoice and select the one that you want to produce here. Again, you have the ability to filter by date, client matter, and choose the number of rows you want to return. So that's a quick overview of the 2.0 invoicing system. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, my name is Kevin for HoudiniEsq. Have a great day.